Welcome to Season 1 of Amplify Connect, the podcast presented by East Yard Enterprises. I'm Kevin Gareth Fotheringham, and I invite you to join me for dynamic conversations with changemakers and visionaries as we explore development work, art and social impact, and the transformational power of cultural diplomacy. Nekisha Sorias completed her secondary school tenure at Bishop Anstey High School, Port of Spain. During her 7 years at BAHS, she represented Trinidad and Tobago in both local and international Taekwondo competitions, making history as the first female to win a medal for TNT in her category. This milestone took place in Mexico, where she won gold in the 14 to 17 division at the Pan American Open Championships. She continued her success by earning gold and silver medals at tournaments in Costa Rica and Canada and maintained her position as an undefeated national champion for many years. Nekisha furthered her education by pursuing a bachelor's degree in primary education, graduating with honors in 2022. With a passion for teaching and positively impacting children's lives, she successfully applied to the Community Engagement Exchange CEE program. Funded by the US government and administered by the International Research and Exchanges Board IREX, the CEE program is a year-long leadership development initiative that nurtures young leaders from around the world. It provides them with tools and tips to enhance their networking skills and expertise in areas such as civic dialogue and peacebuilding, open and participatory government, women and gender issues, environmental sustainability, and youth engagement. Nekisha has been involved in Taekwondo for 13 years and started a basic martial arts program for girls at her alma mater 3 years ago. In response to the alarming levels of violence against women in Trinidad and Tobago, she curated her program to focus specifically on self-defense, ensuring young women are equipped with knowledge to protect themselves. These achievements led to her acceptance into the 2024 cohort of the CEE program, where she completed her practicum at Youth Advancement Programs YAP in Philadelphia. At YAP, she worked closely with juvenile offenders, special education students, and American youth in various programs. Now back in Trinidad, the 25-year-old Nekisha is focused on rolling out her community engagement project. This initiative will involve multiple focus group sessions with young girls, discussing the safety and well-being challenges they face daily. These discussions will be followed by self-defense workshops, teaching 5 basic techniques that can be applied in the situations highlighted during the sessions. Let's get into today's episode. So we're back at the American Center for another episode of Amplify Connect, where I connect with, some of the wonderful and talented and esteemed alumni of the U.S. Embassy Port of Spain's various cultural exchange programs. And today I am joined by one of those alumni, Miss Nekisha Sorias. How are you, Nekisha?
I am well, thank you. It's a beautiful day out, so thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. This is exciting because I met you just a few weeks ago at the alumni mixer, and it was really fun coming up to you and speaking to you and stuff.
Indeed.
And I felt like if we should have recorded that because it was so organic and so cool.
It was genuine. It was a genuine interaction.
So we're going to try to top that today.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, Nekisha. So let's jump right into this thing. Tell us about this journey, this lifetime journey, because this has been some time now since childhood in Taekwondo.
Okay, so I started Taekwondo in secondary school. I went to Bishop Anstey High School, Port of Spain, and it was mandatory that you have to do an extracurricular. So there was a variety of sports, many of which I liked, like, for example, volleyball, loved netball, football, things like that. But I had a thing for not liking short pants or short
Okay.
skirts. Yeah, it's weird, but
Okay.
it was just me at the time. And all these sports required short pants or, a short attire.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, I don't feel comfortable, with my legs out and things like that. And then I went in the hall one day and I saw these guys and a bunch of girls as well training, and they all had on track pants and stuff. And I was like, what sport is this? So I sat down and I realized what they were doing or whatever. And the coach came up to me and he was like, you want to join? I was like, no. I was just like, no. He's like, no, you could join. Just bring clothes the next day. And he told me, when they were training and whatnot. And I was like, okay. And since then, that day in Form 1, I did Taekwondo. And this year would have been 13 years I've been doing this sport. And it has taken me all across the world. It is something that I truly like. And I think that it sort of framed the person that I am today in many, many different ways.
So let me get this clear. You chose this sport because you didn't want to wear something short.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Correct.
And then you went on to represent us on the international stage in this sport and also win awards.
Yes.
Can you tell our viewers and listeners about that experience of representing us internationally in Taekwondo and being the first female to win an award?
So I actually created history. I think it was 2014, where I was the first female to win a medal in the sport of Taekwondo in my category. So thank you so much. A lot of hard work went into it. So Taekwondo comprises of both sparring and pumse, which is like the forms aspect of it. And there weren't many females doing forms within the sport from Trinidad. So my coach, as well as a team, went to the Pan American Open Games in Mexico. And I was just a mere blue belt at the time. And yes, I won a gold medal in that category.
Wow.
After that, I traveled to Costa Rica, won silver medal in Costa Rica, traveled to Canada Open in Montreal. I won a gold and silver there. I went to Mexico a couple times. I tried qualifying for the CEE games and things like that. Of course, I fall short, but I had many, many accomplishments in Taekwondo. I was nominated for the First Citizens Youth Sports Awards and things like that. And of course, on a national stage, I was the reigning champion for many, many years, consistently winning gold because unfortunately, there was nobody, with my skill set locally.
Right.
So, yeah, it was really, really nice. I got to travel the world, so that's amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And
thank you so
I
much.
want to say, thank you for your service, because your service you did because you represented us on an international stage.
Of course, thank you.
So you finished Taekwondo on the international stage and you jumped right into schooling and education. And I see that you did a degree in primary education.
Yes.
What led you to that?
So it's funny because growing up, people just tell you things all the time, and it's like you don't really believe it. So something everybody would tell me growing up, I should be a teacher. Here's the line: children are drawn to you, and I'm just like, no, I'm just, interacting with children. It's not to say I'm doing anything special. You know what I mean? I was just interacting with children the way I wish I was interacted with as a child, So it wasn't anything much that I was doing. So I just didn't believe it for a long period of time. And then I finished school, finished Form 6 at Bishop's, and I was like, where am I going? What do I want to do? I know within the back of my mind that I want to work with kids in some sort of way, but it was two options. It was either teaching or nursing. And I don't really have a science brain. So unfortunately, the nursing was a bit out of the window for me. So I went into teaching. I had the choice of which age group that I wanted to teach, whether it be ECC, which is like the little kids, toddlers, or primary or secondary. And I was just like, primary, I feel like that's really, really formative years. And I just want to make that impact within that box there. So yeah, I chose primary education. So I did a bachelor's degree in primary education at UE St. Augustine campus. And it was one of the best experiences ever, for sure.
Wonderful. So that's going to lead me right into, the purpose of this podcast where
Yes.
we are speaking to exchange alumni. And the program that you were chosen for is the Community Engagement Exchange Program, the CEE program. I don't know much about that program, and I'm sure the viewers and listeners don't know as well. Tell us about that program.
Okay, so the CEE program is a program, a year-long program that takes place within the US. And it's basically for young civil society leaders who want to make an impact in various themes. So it can be women and gender, open and participatory government, civic dialogue. These are the themes. And you would basically apply for the program and you would just gain like some sort of development. They help you with skills such as networking, skills such as just tools to run an organization, to manage personnel, those types of things. So I applied for the program. So it's actually funny how I didn't know about it.
Okay.
I would be very, very candid and say that I had no idea about it. You know, like when you're scrolling TikTok or you're scrolling Instagram and things, you see things popping up, this opportunity in the US and this. So I would always see teaching things in the US because, of course, my algorithm is...
Right, because
I'm a teacher, right? Yeah. So the algorithm is programmed to that. So I would always see teaching things, but I didn't know about like exchange programs and things like that. And I was working at a children's rights organization here in Trinidad called Create Future Good.
I know them,
the organization with my whole heart. And I was speaking with someone who was working there at the time, Mr. Kevin Liverpool. And he basically told me, I was heading off to teach my class in Bishops, which we'll get into that later. And he was like, Nekisha, you know, you should apply for this program. I'm like, Kevin, what are you talking about? What is that?
What program is this?
I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, no, it's the C. And then he started to give me just a quick summary of the program. And I was like, Kevin, I don't really align with some of the requirements of this program because, you know, you're just reading something in black and white and you're like, why does he think that
you
I
would be
could
the right person for it?
I don't understand what you're seeing, you know? And then he started to make some correlations between the requirements and different things that I was doing in my life. And it's like, it really opened my mind to see, hey, I've been doing this all this time, but I never really phrased it in this context.
But everybody else is seeing it.
Yeah, everybody else is seeing it. So he really, really pushed me because I was really hesitant. He pushed me to apply and helped me phrasing some of the questions and answers for my application and things like that. And yeah, so this was in 2022.
Okay, not so long ago.
Not so long ago. The end of 2022, did the application and I just left it there, left it in the universe. I even forgot about it. I'm going to be so honest. I forgot about it. I was panicking about it at first. And then I you know, things were happening and I just forgot about it. And it was in Jamaica, actually. I was working in Jamaica at the time as an au pair. And I got this email, you've been shortlisted. I was like, shortlisted for what?
Because you forgot about it, yeah.
Out of my mind. And then when I started reading, I was like, I started screaming. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the thing that I applied for. And everybody's like, Nekisha, what are you talking about? I'm like, this is the program. And then I started to tell everybody about the program and things like that. So yeah, so it was a written application at first. Then the second part of it was interviews. Questions. Yeah. So they pose some questions and you have to tape yourself answering the questions. And that and all was, you know, a lot because I had to slow down how I speak. I had to, you know, I tend to ramble sometimes. So it was phrasing these answers, you know, in a 2-minute segment and things like that. So that was a journey by itself. And then after the interview questions, then they told me that I was selected. Of course, with contingencies, you have to do a medical.
That kind of thing, yeah.
You know, to make sure that you're in good health and things like that. You have to acquire your visa and stuff like that. And of course, we went through that whole process. And then it was official that I was traveling in January of 2024. So this journey started since 2022.
Okay.
And I only, you know, traveled in January of 2024. And it was just amazing. So at first, you have to go to an orientation. So that's in Detroit. Everybody from around 75 different countries, about 140 of us, come to Detroit. And we're all in this big ballroom. And you're just like, so many languages, so many cultures, so many different types of dress, and you're just like, it's just a culture shock, but in the best way possible, because everybody within this room has the same likes as you, has the same mindset as you. They want the same things,
The
you know,
same
they
passion,
want
the same, you know,
passion, and
they're
it's just
on a mission. Yeah.
exactly. And it's just like, it's the first time that I've ever experienced that. You know, you would always meet somebody, oh, I like this person, you know, they're just like me or whatever, whatever. But meeting 100 and something other people that just like you, that was insane, insane.
It could be overwhelming as well.
It was,
you know,
so,
but
yeah,
overwhelming in a good
in a
way.
great way, yes.
So, okay, so you, after your orientation, you would have gone to Philadelphia, is it?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So in Philadelphia, you had to do a project, a practicum. What was that about? What did you do?
Yes. So everyone on the program would have been sent to different states because we all have different themes that we're working under. So they would pair you with an organization that they feel would best align with the work that you're doing in your country, as well as the theme that you have chosen. So I was paired with Youth Advocate Programs in Philadelphia. It's an organization that is across 35 states within the US, very well developed, very well established. And that organization basically focuses on, they have a plethora of projects and programs, but the section that I was dealing with was like juvenile delinquents, and how we're going to, you know, aid them in multiple different ways. So my host supervisor was Miss Renice Wellborn, a gem of a human being. When I tell you, you know, sometimes we may think, oh gosh, you know, we're coming from the Caribbean, we're so different and whatever. It was so nice, you know, going to Philly. I feel like Philly people are almost sort of like Caribbean people. It's amazing. I felt right at home, even though I wasn't at home, you know. So I worked in youth advocate programs. So my host supervisor, she was so mindful in that she created my work plan for me to experience different aspects of the organization. So it's 3 months practicum in the US. Each month I was stationed
in
at a different program.
Okay.
So the first month, I was with an after-school program called ECCE, and it's basically kids who were on the anklet monitor.
Oh, wow.
They had to attend as like community service almost, and spend their time. They would be doing like different workshop sessions, having group focus group sessions and things like that. And that was an after-school thing between like 5 and 8 p.m. And it was so, so nice because I think that was like a raw, authentic experience. I got to hear many different things, you know, about like the culture, the living situation within Philadelphia and the US, and, you know, some of their shortcomings, some of the opportunities that they have and things like that. Then the second month, I think the second month was my best. The second month, I got to go into Philadelphia Family Court, where the juvenile offenders, they would go before the judge and the judge would sentence them to whatever. And of course, as the youth advocate programs, you're trying to get them not to get jail time and trying to put them on one of our programs so that they can stay out of prison. And that was just amazing. I met the director there. His name is Mr. Bill McCarthy. Oh, amazing, amazing people. And it was just really, really nice to see the different opportunities that kids have in the US. You know what I mean? I feel like locally, you know, we don't really have that much variety and children suffer as a result. So experiencing that was amazing to see how willing the judges are to be lenient and things like that. And then the third month, I got to spend in a school within Philadelphia, and that was amazing because
teaching background, right?
Yes, teaching special needs kids, different vocational skills and things like that. So I really got to experience many different things, and I think that is solely because of my host supervisor and her brilliant mind. I also got to travel a lot while I was there. I went to new directors training and things like that, where I got to experience. Because Philadelphia, because of its high crime rate, they have specific programs. But the other branches of the organization,
the other states,
they have other problems,
other challenges
that would be tackled in different ways. So at the new directors training, where there were representatives from each state, I got to hear all about their programs, and I was just like mind blown that this one organization is doing so much work. It was amazing. It really, really was.
Okay. So tell me now about, I mean, well, obviously, I mean, it's a no-brainer that you would have spent, you know, a formative period of your life focused on Taekwondo, right? And then now you got qualified in teaching. So how do you now merge your background in Taekwondo and teaching to develop this social good program that you are developing?
Okay. So it's actually funny. Teaching, even though I love it, it's always something that I steer away from. And whenever I tell anybody this, they'll be like, "What? You're a teacher though." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I just feel so much responsibility. I love children so much that it's like, it's almost nerve-wracking for me to interact with a child like that because I know the impact that, you know, a teacher or parent or guardian or whatever would
It's
have
a big
on
responsibility,
it's a
right?
responsibility that I just get nervous about. So I would always, you know, shy away from teaching. But I mean, the universe just pulls you right back into it, and everybody is always asking me to teach or whatever. So my coach asked me to teach the same program that I was a part of in Bishops. He wasn't able to complete the program, so he asked me to teach Taekwondo in Bishops. I said, "Okay, coach, no problem." I was nervous about it. So I started teaching them Taekwondo, which is a martial art, right? Teaching them basic Taekwondo. And then it's like every day I develop a relationship with my girls. It's an all-girls class. I develop trust with them. They tell me everything that you can think about. They open up to me. I help them, you know, they're struggling in school and things like that. I would get help for them, help them where I could. If I can't help, if I forgot something or whatever, I get somebody to help them. Things like that. You know, I always try to communicate and build that relationship with them. So then now, the program, which was martial arts, Taekwondo.
Just martial arts, yeah.
Just martial arts. Took a swivel and a pivot to self-defense that could be used on the streets. This is not no textbook thing here. This is somebody coming at you. What I go in and do when I walk in down Charlotte Street in order to get a maxi and things like that. So that's where my program sort of shifted from what my coach was doing to now adapting it to our local climate, which is really, really terrible with the high crime rate and violence towards women and things like that. So yeah, so my girls' class now, I would call it a self-defense class almost, where we learn practical skills. Somebody grab your bag, somebody try to hold up your hand, somebody try to put a hand on your leg. How you getting out of that? Right? So yes, so I think because of my creativity and because of my love and my passion for teaching, I was able to create this sort of safe space and develop this program where girls are able to learn self-defense skills to protect themselves.
Wow.
Yes, I know, right?
No, that's really commendable.
Thank you.
And as you said, I mean, that's one of crime in general is a challenge, but also violence towards women and girls. It's something that continues to be prevalent.
Yeah.
So, you know, kudos for doing that.
Thank you.
You know, it's a really interesting approach, using that type of martial art. You know?
Yeah, for
so
sure.
Kudos for that.
I think there are many things that exist. If you go online and things like that, you look for like self-defense things or whatever. There are many, many different programs that exist and things like that. But I don't think we have something with the Caribbean perspective.
Right.
I don't think we have something. You're in a maxi and somebody brushing shoulders with you and they try to rest their hand on your leg. They don't have them things in the US. They don't have them things in other parts of the world. You're walking down the road on Independence Square. A man come and, oh God, Smalley, where's the scene family? And ting, and try to grab you up and things like that. We don't have those approaches to violence against women in other parts of the world. So I feel like
it's being tailored to our context.
Tailored to our Caribbean perspective, you know? So yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do.
Wonderful. Well, we're almost to the end. You see how fast it goes? You know? But
this is fun.
Right? I told you it would be fun. What advice would you give to other young women who are interested in getting into, you know, the field of social change, the field of social impact, trying to do good, trying to leave their mark, trying to inspire others? What advice would you give to other young women?
I would say find your why. What is it that you're passionate about? Because there's so many different problems in the world, and let's be real, we cannot tackle everything. But you, as an individual, you have a particular skill set that will be able to tackle a particular area in a special type of way. So find out what you like, find out what are your skills and how you could apply your skills to what you like. And that's what I did. I like children. I like teaching. I applied my skills to this particular area, and I'm trying to impact change in this area. I'm not trying to do everything. I'm just doing this, and I'm hoping that this small thing would impact others. And it's the same thing that's happening with my girls right now. I have a class of about, let's say, around 22 to 25 girls.
That's a big class.
Yeah,
You're like, a little bit, but that's a big class.
Yeah. And every day, other students and things like that, oh, use the self-defense, girl. Everybody's be talking about you in the school and things like that. And, it's trying to talk to them. No, you could come and join the class and things like that. But, they're scared about it, because when you hear self-defense, you're like, oh gosh, I'm going to get hurt, or I'm going to do this or whatever. Yes, but when you go out there in the real world, nobody going to baby you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's sort of changing that narrative or that stereotype, of women can't do this. Whenever people think of self-defense or they think of martial arts, they think of it like a male sport, But, women can do it as well. So I would say to anybody, just find your why and just know that it's a lot of work. Sometimes you don't get the support. Sometimes, people may not understand where you're coming from or what you're trying to do. But you have to have that passion within yourself to push. And I think everybody can do it for sure.
I like what you said there. Women can do it as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like
how many times people are like, you do self-defense? You? And they would watch you up and down. Is the you? Yeah, me. I'll put you down real quick, that kind of way. So yeah, we have to change our narrative in Trinidad and Tobago and in the world in general.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So Nekisha, final question, or it's not even a question, it's just for you to give your opinion, or, give your feedback on how you think that the exchange opportunity, that the CEE program changed your life for the better.
Oh gosh, you see this question? Oh, it makes me emotional, because this program, as I said, this is not something that I knew about. I interacted with other people on the program, and they were working towards this. This is something that they had on their vision boards and things like that. This is a program that they've always wanted to do for a long period of time. I'm different. I didn't know anything about it. So it was kind of like dropped in my lap. So I didn't really have much expectations of it and things like that. So I went into it with a super open mind. And now that I've returned to Trinidad, I don't know what I tried to think back as to what my life was like before this program. You know what I mean? That was like, it has changed my life so much in so many different ways. I think I have a broadened perspective on many different aspects of like civil society work and like social change. And then it's like, it has changed my mindset going forward personally, because it's like, now I don't know what my long-term goals are anymore. So for example,
it's broader now, right?
It's broader now, because my goal, this is no joke, my goal was to become a teacher. While I was going to UE, I just wanted to be in a school, and that was it. And before I got onto the program, before I left, I got called by OJT to teach in a school. This is like October month of 2023.
And you were leaving in January.
And then I was leaving in January. So I had to leave. And I was like, of course, my parents told me the same thing. They were like, you're leaving your solid job to go on this program, that you don't know nothing about, and things like that. Like what, you're leaving something sure to go to the unsure, the uncertain. And I was just like, no, I'm doing it. And of course, they pushed me and they were like, yes, do it. And now I am so, so glad that I did that, because my one goal of becoming a teacher just flew out the door. And now I have goals of other things. You know what I mean? Teaching in different ways, not just in the fixated classroom 8 to 4. There are other ways that children learn. And I want to explore that now. So I think this program was created in such a beautiful way that it helped you to just expand your mind and the different possibilities. Something as simple as going to these different states, having the orientation in Detroit, then going to your host state where you would be conducting your 3-month practicum, and then having the closing ceremony in a different state. We went to DC for the closing ceremony. So just having that experience of these different states.
Each space is different.
Each space is different, and they just approach life differently. And that alone in itself was just a mind-blowing thing. I always tell people travel is one of the greatest things that you can experience. And I must say that the CE program did it so skillfully that I am just indebted to them. I think my future was just heavily impacted by this program, and I'm so grateful.
Okay. Well, Nekisha, all I can say is thank you for spending about half an hour with me. It was, really wonderful. It's insightful for me as well to learn about the different programs. Yeah, because I know there are a myriad of programs that the embassy via the State Department offers. And so this was a learning experience. I'm going to do my own research on the CEE program as well. But I want to, again, congratulate you for what you have been doing. And, I'm here to see what you are yet to do. And women can do it as well. Thank you, Nekisha.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for viewing or listening to this episode of Amplify Connect, the podcast. I want to thank our production partner, RJ Live TT Productions, the team at East Yard Enterprises, and the U.S. Embassy Port of Spain for providing the use of the American Center for recording this episode. Be sure to subscribe, share, leave comments and ratings wherever you view or listen to our podcast. Welcome to our community.